Hello everyone! Can you believe it? It's this time of the week again. It's time for my album review. I hope you're having a lovely week. It's another sunny day here in Northumberland and I'm really excited to bring my second episode of the series. But before I do, I've got some really exciting news. I've just released my new concept album and it's my debut. Can you believe it? And here it is! Diegesis, and this is the front cover. It took me ages to draw. So this was all hand drawn, a lot of it, and then green screen myself in. And then this was all digitally painted. It took a very long time. But I think it's worth it because it looks really cool. It's all really vivid and I really like how it's all come together. It's eye-catching, isn't it? I hope it is anyway. So this is now available on Bandcamp. So I'll provide the link below the video and you can go and have a look on there. Brilliant! Oh well, that's Diegesis. Please listen to it and let me know what you think. Anyway, on with the review. So this week I said I would do this album, Close to the Edge. Yes. This came out in 1972. Quite some time ago now, isn't it? Well, for me anyway. And this was actually Yes's best-selling album. It was this was the most successful album that they released. And it became, I think it went to number 4 in the British album charts and number 3 in America. And at the front, you know, it's got, you know, the font by Roger Dean, and this is the first one to feature that famous Yes bubble logo. You know about this bubble logo if you're a Yes fan. And on the back, we have all the photos of the band members, which is cool. And on this album, because the lineup always changed, didn't it, in Yes? So on this album we had John Anderson on vocals, Bill Bruford on percussion, Steve Howe on guitars and vocals, Chris Squire on bass and vocals, and Rick Wakeman on keyboards. So it's all very exciting. And I remember, I mean, I got this album about a year ago, and up until that point, I always thought, you know, I remember looking at all the different covers, and I thought, oh, this cover, you know, it just looks a bit plain, doesn't it? It's just like this green gradient, and that's all nice, and I like this kind of texture. It's something like, you know, I like all those really detailed Roger Dean artwork, and I was just judging a book by the cover, and then, you know, it's not until you actually get it and you kind of open up that you realise, wow! I mean, look at that! Wow! I can't like put it on screen properly, but can you see that? Wow! Sorry about that, but you get my meaning. So this is this was also drawn by Roger Dean, and I think it just illustrates again the whole kind of concept of the album being close to the edge, all these waterfalls, a world. So he'd drawn the concept art for the last album, for Fragile. So he was quite, so he'd already done one of the Yes albums and he would continue to do more of the cover work for them, more of the artwork for all the packaging. And this one, I think, is it's just the Fragile one showed a world sort of fragmenting apart, again suggesting the name of the album. And again, this one is doing something similar with all the waterfalls, suggesting the edge of the earth, perhaps. If the edge of the earth was flat. If the world was flat, then maybe this is what it would look like. Perhaps. It's interesting. I really love this. I think this is, again, I said this last week, this is why, I think this is why vinyl is so good, because you can see all these details. All the pictures are just so wonderful, and I really love that this this sort of gatefold sleeve. It's lovely. So, on with the actual music itself. So, on the first side, if I get out the dust cover, it's the lyrics. There's lyrics on the dust cover, so let me get it out. So there are technically 3 long songs on this album, and the first song is the title track, Close to the Edge, and these are all the lyrics. And Close to the Edge, you can see it's been divided up into 4 different songs, and these were all originally, I think, separate ideas, separate songs, and they all joined them together, chained them together. Quite a few bands did this, quite a few artists do this. I think the Beatles did this on Day in the Life, putting different song ideas together, different ideas, and amalgamating them. And with Close to the Edge, it's really interesting. It was their longest song to date, at that time anyway. I don't know if they did any longer songs after this. It's about 18 minutes long. It takes up the whole of side A. And it's made up of 4 parts: Solid Time of Change, Total Mass Retain, I Get Up, I Get Down, and Seasons of Man. And it's really unique because it has all these juxtapositions. This is what stands out for me, because it starts off with this sort of soundscape of birds and water and very tranquil. And this lasts for a minute or so before it bursts into this really, really sort of chaotic, energetic section that kind of reminds me of Spiders in a way. It kind of reminds me of this sort of guitar riff that kind of goes over the top of it. Kind of sounds like Spiders to me. It always reminds me of Spiders. If riffs remind you of animals, it reminds me of Spiders. It's all very spiky and spindly. It's all lovely. And that is sort of broken through with these short sections of these vocal ahs that just come in before it kind of opens up into this sort of section. There's so many sections in this, it's very hard to describe them all, but you can imagine how much work would have gone into this in terms of recording these different sections on tape and then splicing them, putting them together. Very complex. I think one of the best parts about Close to the Edge has got to be Rick Wakeman's solo organ part, which he recorded at St Giles without Cripplegate in London. And it just adds, again, a sense of serenity to the chaos that surrounds it in all these different sections. And it's accompanied by these lyrics: I get up, I get down. Those actually remind me of the lyrics that they wrote a decade later for the album 90125 in the song It Can Happen. I think those lyrics are look up, look down, look around. Very similar. I'll be doing that album sometime later. But you do get a sense of how many sections there are to this, and not just in this song, but in all 3 of the songs in this album. And you can imagine putting them all together on tape. I think it would have been quite tedious. And that was maybe one of the reasons why drummer Bill Bruford left the group and then joined King Crimson. The first lyrics from A Solid Time of Change are just so poetic. I'm not quite sure what exactly they mean, but they're so... you can really read into them. A seasoned witch could call you from the depths of your disgrace and rearrange your lives to the solid mental grace, and achieve it all with the music that came quickly from afar, then taste the fruit of man, recorded losing against the hour. I think that's just so... I'm not sure what exactly that means, but it's very poetic. You really can read into it so much. It seems so meaningful. You want to know what it means. It really, I think, you know, it's definitely a song that I haven't fully got my head around yet. It's, you know, you get something different out of it each time you listen. It's wonderful. So that's on the A side, and how it closes is how it opens with that bird song and the sound of water. It's very atmospheric, and, you know, kind of, you know, it kind of fits the visualness of the kind of gatefold design, which is lovely. Again, it's beautiful. So then, moving on to side B, It's made up of 2 songs. Firstly, You and I, which again it's more slow, it's more atmospheric, and is made up of 4 different parts, a bit like Close to the Edge. And again, it's just so atmospheric. The lyrics too. A man convinced, a moment's answers to the dream, staying the flowers daily, sensing all the themes, as a foundation regained and regarded both the same, all complete in sight of the seeds of life with you. Changed only for a sight of sound, the space agreed between the picture of time behind the grace, the face of need, coming quickly to terms with all expression, land, emotion revealed as the ocean made, all complete with the sight of seeds of life with you. And you get these moments where it seems to be sort of, I think it's meant to be like a kind of antiphonal moment in the vocals where they have different lines that say different things, and it's just wonderful. And again, so atmospheric, it really is. And then going on to the final track of the album, Siberian Catru, and Catru, I think it's pronounced, and that comes from Arabic, and I think it means as you will, or something along those lines. And it's got one of the most catchiest guitar riffs in it, as it opens with the I love it. And I actually used this song as my theme tune to my radio show at university, which was great fun. For those of you who were familiar with what I did with Jam Radio at Hull University, I had my show Alternative 60, and this was the opening soundtrack to every show because it was so memorable. It was such a great opening to the show, and this is such a great way to end this album. And it has so many different, again, sections, but it remains very upbeat, but then even in that, there's some really lovely moments of kind of serenity. I love the bits where it gets to that point where it says, "Hold on to the morning that comes into view, whole river running right over my head." I mean, isn't that beautiful? I think that's just amazing. I love all these lyrics. They're just brilliant. And again, on release, this album did very well. It was their greatest commercial success. So thank you very much. That was this week's album, Close to the Edge by Yes. I really like it. I think it's such, again, one of Yes's greatest albums. But let me know what you think of it in the comments below. Next week, and I'm quite excited about this, next week I'll be reviewing this. Now, this is very interesting, isn't it? It's not an album of such, it's more of a single, but it's a single with a difference, and it's intriguing, isn't it? It's Suzanne Ciani with Fish Music. So I'll be doing this next week, and I bought this yesterday, and I'm intrigued. I just listened to it this morning, and I was like, oh wow, isn't it? It's interesting, isn't it? So all that to come for next week. But have a brilliant week, and I'll see you all same time, same place. And don't forget to check out Diegesis as well. It's gonna be really. I hope you really like it. Please check it out on Bandcamp. And yeah, it took me a year to produce, a very long time. So please let me know what you think of that too. Oh well, that's me for this week, and I'll see you all next week, same time, same place. Have a good one, everyone. Bye! Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed this review, and why not check out some of my other videos too.